ladies and gentlemen. Let me see how I want to situate that. I'm going to be doing a reaction to the recent Donald Trump interview. It's only an hour long. One of the things I noticed with politicians, they never do, well, this isn't an interview, let me be honest, it's a podcast, but they never do a 3 or 4 hour podcast. And wouldn't you know it, look who I see. You got to be kidding me. It's Jank. And of course, Jank's got to go for 4 hours. Dude, look at these thumbnails. Look at the Oh, man. Good evening, everyone. Thought it was boring, but only because of Lex. Yeah, I haven't watched it. I can understand that. It depends what questions are asked. But I can understand. Lex does kind of have a boring personality. I think that's why people like him. They see him as some type of they see him as like an independent, which he is, I guess. Dude, Lex Fridman is like when you go to his podcast, he's like to Jank, get in closer. He's got his like camera. I mean, this is like this is Jank's dating profile picture. Oh my God. There's some interesting thumbnails. Yeah, go listen to Chank for 4 hours. Apparently people are saying the Epstein thing will put a target on Trump and RFK's back. Well, yeah, I mean, there's already huge targets on their back anyways, man. I don't think that's really going to change much. As an FSU, yeah, FSU got crushed, man. Again, I don't know what happened to FSU. They're screwed, man. I mean, their fan base was really obnoxious, let's be honest. It was solid. Lex asked some wild questions. Well, I saw there was a question. They got into a debate about look, Trump versus Harris, progressive politics, communism, and probably socialism. Oh, capitalism. But I'm going to go ahead and play this, and we'll see. Let me get this.
I don't know if you know this, but some people call you a fascist.
Oh, that's nice.
They do. So I figure it's all right to call them a communist. Yeah, they call me a.
They got these they got the chapters. That's nice.
Worse than I call them.
A lot of people listening to this, myself included, that doesn't think that Kamala is a communist.
I believe you have to fight fire with fire.
Politics is a dirty game.
It is a dirty game.
You got to wait for his intro. Hold on.
Certainly true.
How do you win at that game?
They suffer from massive Trump derangement syndrome, TDS.
He's been saying that a lot.
I don't
recently.
know if it's curable from their standpoint.
I think we'd probably have a better world if everybody in Congress took some mushrooms, perhaps.
First of all, medical marijuana has been amazing. It's been, I've had friends and I've had others and doctors telling me that it's been absolutely amazing.
The list of clients that went.
This is kind of weird. Like, this intro is kind of
to the island has not been made public.
Yeah, it's very interesting, isn't it?
Wait, what?
The following is a conversation with Donald Trump on the Lex Fridman podcast.
They're getting smaller and smaller.
He cut his intro down, it looks like.
I mean, people do respect you more when you have a big camera for some reason.
No, it's cool. And about 20 guys that you pay a fortune to, right?
All right. Okay. You said that you love winning.
4 million followers.
And you have won a lot in life. In real estate, in business, in TV, in politics. So let me start with mindset, a psychology question. What drives you more, the love of winning or the hate of losing?
Maybe equally, maybe both. I don't like losing and I do like winning. I've never thought of it as to which is more of a driving force.
You've been close with a lot of the greats in sport. You think about Tiger Woods, Muhammad Ali. You have people like Michael Jordan who I think hate losing more than anybody. So what do you learn from those guys?
Well, they do have something different. You know, the great champions have something very different, like the sports champions. And, you have champions in other fields, but you see it more readily in sports. You see it over a weekend or you see it during a game. And
the interviewer
you see that certain people stand out and they keep...
He is an AI.
They keep standing out. but it's there for you. It doesn't take a lifetime to find out that
Project
somebody was a winner
2025.
or a loser.
Oh, it's
And
fully
so the sports
endorsed.
thing is very interesting, but I play golf with different people, and there's a different mindset among champions. There's really a very different mindset. There's a different thought process. Talent wise, sometimes you can't tell the difference in talent, but at the end of a weekend, they seem to win. And it's very interesting.
All right, let's get to some. Let's get
You've been
some ball
successful
politics.
in business. You've been successful in politics. What do you think is the difference between gaining success between the two different disparate worlds?
Yeah, and they're different, very different. I have
One of the great things about people from the business world is they're often great deal makers, and you're a great deal maker. And you've talked about the war in Ukraine and that you would be able to find a deal that both Putin and Zelensky would accept. What do you think that deal looks like?
I think the deal, and I wouldn't talk about it too much because I think I can make a deal.
You lose
If I
leverage
win
if you talk
as
about it.
president-elect, I'll have a deal made, guaranteed. That's a war that shouldn't have happened. It's terrible. Look, Biden is the worst president in the history of our country, and she's probably worse than him. That's something that should have never happened, but it
Well,
did
she's less qualified, that's for sure.
happen. And now it's a much tougher deal to make than it would have been before it started. Millions of people. I think the number is going to be a lot higher when you see this.
Well, dude, to be fair, the reason I skipped it was because it's rah-rah. I mean, it's psychology. It's stuff that Trump's already talked about. That's why.
All at some point iron out. I think the death numbers are going to be a lot higher than people think. When you take a look at the destruction and the buildings coming down all over the place in Ukraine, I think those numbers are going to be a lot higher. They lie about the numbers. They try and keep them low. They knocked down a building that's 2 blocks long. These are big buildings, and they say one person was mildly injured. No, a lot of people were killed. And there are people in those buildings, and they have no chance. Once they start coming down, there's no chance. So that's a war that absolutely.
He really didn't. You can't talk about the deal. You'll lose leverage on either side. He needs to talk about. I mean, he talked to Zelensky. Zelensky's ready to make a deal with Trump. That's what he said. I saw someone say something. I really am starting to think they might install her. Oh, dude, I've got clip after clip. I might do a video on it. Well, there's like 4 or 5 clips of Biden. I mean, he can barely even sit down now. He's like huffing and puffing to even sit down. He's really struggling. Like when you talk about like hanging on by a thread, I mean, it's like the backpack with like one thread left, and that's Biden. And he's just so close, man. He's so close. But what will installing her really even do? I mean, maybe I'm just disassociated from it. How does that really even help them? But I don't know. Maybe they get all the news, I guess.
Absolutely has to get done. And then you have Israel, and then you have a lot of other places that are talking war. The world is a rough place right now. And a lot of it's because of the fact that America has no leadership. And I believe that she'll be probably worse than Biden. I watched the interview the other night. I mean, it was just a softball interview.
She's just another clone.
So you would like to see her do more interviews, challenged more?
I don't know. I can't believe the whole thing is happening.
Trump,
we had a man
34
in there
interviews
that
for
should have
one
never
interview.
been in there. They kept him in a basement. They used COVID. They cheated, but they used COVID to cheat. They cheated without COVID too. But you had somebody in there, and
It's
now
been
we have a
minute now with
woman that
Zuckerberg.
is not. I mean, she couldn't do an interview. This was a really soft interview. This is an interview where they're giving her multiple choice questions, multiple guess. I call it multiple guess. And I don't think she did well. I think she did very poorly.
How do you think you'll do in the debate?
Yeah, well, on that interview, it came out today. Trump and Vance have done 34 combined interviews. Harris and Waltz have done 1, and that was the joint interview. So in essence, Harris has done 0 solo interviews. Waltz has done 0 solo interviews either. That's why they can't even question him about stolen valor, because he just doesn't do any interviews. And whenever they ask him questions, and if I were Trump, I would say, I mean, they're openly saying their strategy is to not have her talk about policy, and there's no policy on her own website. This is after the DNC. This is 2 months before the election. this is really evil and really scary because they're trying to have her installed. And now she's come out and she says she wants to shut X down. She wants to take, I mean, they don't believe in free speech on the internet. We know that because of what happened when they controlled Twitter and they had conservatives banned for nothing. And same thing with doctors because of COVID. And then they said, well, it's tough. It's a private company. This is what they can do because it's private. So they don't believe in free speech on the internet at all, and that's why they're pissed off at Elon. They want to jail Elon Musk. They got jealous of Brazil, and they want a Brazil 2.0 in the United States. And she actually said it like a few days ago. She said, something needs to happen to Elon Musk. They need to regulate it. The government needs to step in because this is really bad because conservatives have taken over X, and we can't have that, and we can't have free speech on the internet. But then they gaslight and they say they love America.
Coming up. It's in a few days.
So I've done a lot of debating, only as a politician. I never debated. My first debate was the Rosie O'Donnell debate, right? The famous Rosie O'Donnell debate, the answer.
I remember that.
But I've done well
In
with
Cleveland.
debates. I mean, I became president. Then the second time I got millions more votes than I got the first time. So I was told if I got 63 million, which is what I got the first time, you would win. You can't not win. And I got millions of more votes than that and lost by a whisker. And look what happened to the world with all of the wars and all of the problems. And look what happened with inflation, because inflation's just eating up our country, eating it up. So it's too bad. But
look what happened to the housing market.
There are a lot of things that could happen. We have to get those wars settled. We have to get... I'll tell you, you have to get Ukraine done. That could end up in a third world war. So could the Middle East. The
Middle East might even be more scary.
Maybe let's talk about what it takes to negotiate with somebody like Putin or Zelensky. Do you think Putin would be willing to give up any of the regions they already captured?
I don't know. I can tell you that all of this would have never happened, and it would have been very easy. Because you don't have, like, that question wouldn't be asked. That's a tougher question. Once that starts happening, because he has taken over a lot of territory. Now, I guess they're insurgents now too, right? So, it's a little bit interesting that's happening and that it can happen. And it's interesting that Putin has
Trump
allowed
looks
that
good
to
here.
happen.
He does look healthy.
Look, that's one that should have never started. We have to get it stopped. Ukraine is being demolished. They're destroying a great culture that's largely destroyed.
What do you think works better in those kinds of negotiations? Leverage of, let's say, friendship, the carrot or the stick? Friendship or sort of the threat of using the economic and military power?
So it depends on who the person is. Everyone's different.
Depends on where they're at in terms of the war, how many men they've lost, what they originally wanted to accomplish.
Right. Negotiation's interesting because it depends on who the person is. And then you have to guess or know through certain knowledge which is, more important, the carrot or the stick. And with some people, it's the stick, and with some people, it's the carrot. I think the stick probably is generally more...
Blubbering buffoon Waltz. Yeah, I mean, dude, I just can't even have enough. I don't have enough to describe Waltz and how ridiculous he is.
Successful. And that, we're talking about war. But the kind of destruction that we're witnessing now, nobody's ever seen. I mean, it's a terrible thing. And we're witnessing it all over. We're witnessing it.
But what even is the liberal plan to stop it? They don't even
in all
have
parts of the world. A lot of things are going to get started. Look what's going on with China. Look at Japan. They're starting to rearm now. They're starting to rearm because China's getting, taking over certain islands. And there's a lot of danger in the war right now in the world. There's a lot of islands. And there's a great possibility of World War III.
Maybe unclaimed territory.
And we better get this thing done fast because 5 months with people like her and him, he's checked out. He just goes to the beach and thinks he looks good in a bathing suit, which he doesn't. He's sort of checked out. Hey, look, you can't blame him. That was a coup. They took it over. They took over the presidential deal. The whole presidential thing was taken over in a coup. He had 14 million votes. She had no votes, not one. And nobody thought it was going to be her. Nobody wanted it to be her. She was a joke until 6 weeks ago when they said we're going to have to, politically, they felt they had to pick her. And if
Talk
they
about
didn't pick
Colbert.
her, they thought there'd be a problem.
But this is how much she was a joke. They said that she was weighing Biden down because, guys, we all know that they were on the Biden train. They said that Biden, remember, this is what they said. This is the reason. They said Biden is the only person to beat Trump, so he has to be the choice because there were a bunch of younger liberals who wanted someone to run against Biden during the Democratic primaries, and it really never happened. There was the one dude, the Dean Phillips dude. There was Williamson, but the establishment was like, no, Biden's the choice. Biden's got the incumbent advantage. He'll be fine. And so when he got destroyed in the debate, it threw a monkey wrench into it all. And then they had to force Biden out through. I mean, they threatened him, and it is really sad. But think about how bad Harris is. They said, and Colbert, all of them said, they said that Harris is weighing Biden down and that they need to move on from Harris and replace Harris. So that's how bad Harris was. And now she's got a +2 approval rating. Everybody loves her. Can a Democrat explain to me how she has a -15 approval rating and now it's +2? What did she do in that time frame? It's impossible, so they can't explain it. But has anyone ever asked a Democrat that? How does she? Trump lost weight. Yeah, Trump lost serious weight. He looks really good. I've been saying that. She was the insurance policy. Well, I mean, yeah, you could say that, but she's the VP, so technically any VP is going to be an insurance policy.
I don't know if that's right or not. I actually don't think it's right, but they thought it was right. And now immediately the press comes to their aid.
If we can go back to China on negotiation, how do we avoid war with China in the 21st century?
Well, there are ways now. Here's the problem. If I tell you how, and I'd love to do it, but if I give you a plan, like I have a very exacting plan how to stop Ukraine and Russia, and I have a certain idea, maybe not a plan, but an idea for China, because we're in a lot of trouble. They'll be in a lot of trouble too, but we're in a lot of trouble. But I can't give you those plans because if I give you those plans, I'm not going to be able to use them. They'll be very unsuccessful. Part of it's surprise, right?
Right.
But they won't be able to help us much.
So you have a plan of what to say to Putin.
Yeah, I know.
When you take
exactly.
office.
No, I had a very good relationship with him, and I had a good relationship with Zelensky too. But I had a very good relationship with Putin.
Tough topic.
Zelensky called him like
you said lost by a whisker. I'm an independent. I have a lot of friends who are independent, many of whom like your policies, like the fact that you're a deal maker, like the fact that you can end wars, but they are troubled by what happened in the 2020 election and
when Zuckerberg
statements about widespread fraud and this kind of stuff, fake electoral scheme. What can you say to those independent voters to help them decide who to vote for?
I think the fraud was on the other side. I think the election was a fraud. And many people felt it was that. And they wanted answers.
Well, Zuckerberg
and
it.
When you can't challenge an election, you have to be able to challenge it. Otherwise, it's going to get worse, not better. And there are lots of ways to solve this problem. Go to paper ballots. Do it the easy way. I mean, the paper ballots, and you have voter ID, and you have same-day voting, and you have proof of citizenship, which is very important because we have people voting that are not citizens. They just came in, and they're loading up the payrolls. They're loading up everything. They're putting students in schools. They don't speak a word of English, and they're taking the seats of people that are citizens of our country. So, look, we have the worst border in the history of the world. We have coming into our country right now millions and millions of people at levels that nobody's ever seen. I don't believe any country's ever seen it.
Kamala endorsed him.
And they would use sticks and stones not to make it happen, not to let it happen. We don't do anything. And we have a person who was the border czar, who now said she wasn't really the border czar, but she was. She was the border czar, but she was in charge of the border. And we have her, and she's saying...
mainstream media said it.
very strongly, oh, I did such a good job. She was horrible, horrible. The harm she's done. But we have people coming in from other countries all over the world, not just South America, and they're coming in from prisons and jails. They're coming in from mental institutions and insane asylums. And they're street criminals. Right off the street, they take them. And they're being given to our country, drug dealers, human traffickers.
Well, Venezuelans have taken over 2 cities now. I mean, they took over a city in Illinois. They took over Aurora. I'm sure you guys have seen the Venezuelans. It's real bad.
We're destroying our country. This is a sin, what's been allowed to take place over the last 4 years. We're destroying our country. And we'll see how that all works out. But it's not even believable. And now you saw in Aurora, Colorado, a group of very tough young thugs from Venezuela
Trump are synced.
taking over big areas, including buildings. They're taking over buildings. They have their big rifles, but they're taking over buildings. We're not going to let this happen.
The debate.
We're not going to let them destroy our country.
I'll be trending.
And in those countries, crime is way down. They're taking them out of their prisons, which is good because good for them. I do the same thing. By the way, if I ran one of those countries, any country in the world, I would make sure that America has every one of our prisoners. Every one of our criminals would be here. I can't believe they're going so slowly, but some aren't. And, but they all are doing
we don't accept them.
And we can't let that happen. They're emptying out their prisons and their mental institutions into the United States of America. We can't let that happen.
So a lot of people believe that there was some shady stuff that went on with the election, whether it's media bias or big tech, but still the claim of widespread fraud is the thing that bothers people.
Well, I don't focus on the past. I focus on the future. I mean, I talk about how bad the economy is, how bad inflation is.
Well, Trump's been directed not to answer this question. It's obvious we can see that. It's the same thing during the debate. He didn't want to answer it. And so, this is their best strategy, is to just say, you know what, it's the past, whatever, when it comes to the widespread voter fraud. But I mean, I would just divert it to what Zuckerberg said. I mean, Zuckerberg admitted the election was manipulated in a letter to Jim Jordan because there was going to be a whistleblower probably. Or Zuckerberg's just that nice of a guy, which, probably not true. But if I was Trump, I would just deflect it and say, well, Zuckerberg admitted it. The voter fraud, I mean, they spent 4 years calling me Hitler. Obviously, they're going to try and cheat. Let's be honest.
How bad things like, which is important, Afghanistan was, in my opinion, the most embarrassing thing that's ever happened to our country. And because of that, I think
the interview helped him. These interviews are more so just...
Putin went in.
It's for transparency.
But it was the most embarrassing moment in the history of our country. I really believe that. But, we left 13 dead soldiers. Think of it, 13 dead soldiers, many soldiers horrifically hurt with arms and legs and everything else gone. We left hostages behind. We left Americans behind. We left military equipment, the likes of which nobody's ever left behind before. Billions and billions of dollars of equipment. They're now selling the equipment. They're one of the largest arms dealers in the world. And very sad, very sad. And we were there for a long time. I was going to get out. We were getting ready to get out. Then we got interrupted by the election. But we would have been out with dignity and strength. We were having very little problem with the Taliban when I was there because they knew it was going to be tough. I dealt with Abdul. Abdul was the leader.
Even if you're a liberal, this is a good way to get him. There's no way you can argue if Trump got a second term, his withdrawal from Afghanistan would be as bad as Biden's. There is no way you can argue that. It's almost impossible. If Trump got a second term in an alternate universe and we withdrew from Afghanistan, there's no way it would have been as bad as what happened with Biden's shit show.
And we got along fine. He understood. But, they were shooting. They were killing a lot of our people before I came down. And when I got there, I spoke to him. I said, can't do it. Don't do it anymore. We went 18 months before this happened, this horrible day happened. We went 18 months and nobody was shot at or killed.
What do you think that was, the carrot or the stick in that case in Afghanistan?
The
that
stick,
worked?
definitely
So
the
the
stick.
threat of military force.
That was the stick, yeah. It doesn't have to be, but that was the stick.
Well, let me just linger on the election a little bit more. For this election, it might be a close one. What can we do to avoid the insanity and division of the previous election, whether you win or lose?
Well, I hope it's not a close one. I mean, I don't know how people can vote for somebody that has destroyed our country.
Well,
the
the polls say
inflation,
it's going to be a blowout.
the bad economy, but to me, in a way, the worst to happen at our border, where they've allowed millions of people to come in here from places that you don't want to know about. And I can't believe that that's going to be a close election. We're leading in the polls, and it looks close, but I think in the end, it's not going to be a close election.
What do you think is the right way to solve the immigration crisis? Is mass deportation one of the solutions you would think about?
Well, you've got to get the criminals out of here fast, right? The people from mental institutions, you got to get them back into their mental institution. No country can afford this. It's just too much money. You look at what's happening in New York and Chicago and LA and lots of places, and you take a look at what's happening. There's no country can afford this. We can't afford it. And we've got to get the bad ones out immediately, and the rest have to be worked on. It's happened before. Dwight Eisenhower was sort of a moderate president, moderate type person, but he hated when he saw.
If Trump doesn't win another term and takes up Putin's offer to move to Russia, I think you should follow suit. Dude, Trump is not moving to Russia, and it's not even an offer to Trump. But I mean, I appreciate the
people pouring into the country, and they were nothing like now. I probably got elected in 2016 because of the border. And I told people what was happening, and they understood it. And I won the election, I think, because of the border.
Worse now with
Our
Harris
border
than it even was with Obama.
25 times worse right now than it was in 2016.
We're just synced.
I had it fixed too. I had it the last week of the famous chart that I put up was exactly that. The chart. When I looked to the right, I said, there's the chart. That was not a pleasant experience, but the chart that I put up said, and that was done by Border Patrol, that was the lowest number that we've ever had come into our country in recorded history. And we have to get it back to that again.
There's the chart. Bing.
Let me ask you about Project 2025. So you've publicly said that you don't have any direct connection to Project
nothing. I know nothing about it. And they know that too. Democrats know that. And I purposely haven't read it because I want to say to you, I have no idea what it's all about. It's easier than saying I read it and, all of the things. No, I purposely haven't read it. And I've heard about it. I've heard about things that are in there that I don't like. And there's some things in there that everybody would like. But there are things that
this is what they do every 4 years.
At all.
The Heritage Foundation puts out one of these every 4 years. This is not a new thing.
Unfortunate that they put it out, but it doesn't mean anything because it has nothing to do with me. Project 25 has absolutely nothing to do with me.
You posted recently about marijuana, and that
he is right. It's marijuana.
You're okay
does
with
smell real bad.
It being legalized, but it has to be done safely. Can you explain your policy there?
Well, I just put out a paper. And first of all, medical marijuana has been amazing. It's been. I've had friends and I've had others and doctors telling me that it's been absolutely amazing, the medical marijuana. And we put out a statement that we can live with the marijuana. It's got to be a certain age, to buy it. It's got to be done in a very
It's trying to get bipartisan support,
way.
Independent support, say you're pro-marijuana. It's smart.
The way they're doing it in Florida, I think, is going to be actually good. It's going to be very good. But it's got to be done in a good way. It's got to be done in a clean way. You go into some of these places, like in New York, it smells all marijuana. You can't, you've got to have a system where there's control.
Is this guy a lefty?
And I think
Lex?
the way they've done it in Florida
he says he's an independent.
Very good.
Do you know anything about psychedelics? So I'm not a drug guy, but I recently did ayahuasca.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of people that speak to sort of the health benefits and the spiritual benefits
The problem with this type of stuff,
of
when
these
people do
different
these crazy
psychedelics.
drugs, they
I
make it
think
their
would
identity.
probably
I'm not
have a
knocking
better
the
world
drugs,
if
but
everybody in Congress took some mushrooms, perhaps. Now I know you stay away from all of that stuff. Um, I know also veterans use it for dealing with PTSD and all that kind of stuff. So it's great, and it's interesting that you're thinking about being more accepting of some of these drugs, which don't just have a recreational purpose, but a medical purpose, a treatment purpose.
So we put out a statement today. We're going to put out another one probably next week, be more specific, although I think it's pretty specific. And we'll see how that all goes. That's a referendum coming up in some states, but it's coming up, and we'll see how
Rogan.
it does. I will say it's been very hard to beat it. You take a look at the numbers, it's been very hard to beat it. So I think it'll generally pass, but you want to do it in a safe way.
Speaking of marijuana, let me ask you about my good friend Joe Rogan.
Trump is...
So you had a bit of tension with him. So when he said nice things about RFK Jr., I think you've said some not so nice things about Joe, and I think that was a bit
This is typical. This is just Trump. Sometimes this was a dumb statement.
Fair. And as a fan of Joe,
it's not a big deal.
I would love to see you do his podcast, because he is legit the greatest conversationalist in the world. So what's the story behind the tension?
I don't think there was any tension, and I've always liked him, but I don't know him. I mean, I only see him when I walk into the arena with Dana, and I shake his hand. I see him there.
What is that thumbnail?
I think he's good at what he does, but I don't know about doing his podcast. I mean, I guess I'd do it, but I haven't been asked, and I'm not asking them, I'm not asking anybody.
It sounds like a challenging negotiation situation.
No, it's not. It's not really a negotiation. And he's sort of a liberal guy, I guess, from what I understand. But he likes Kennedy. This was before I found this out, before Kennedy came in with us. He's going to be great. Bobby's going to be great.
Photo with the sparks.
But I like that he likes Kennedy. I do too. He's a different kind of a guy, but he's got some great things going. And I think he's going to be beyond politics. I think he could be quite influential in taking care of some situations that you probably would agree should be taken care of.
I think Joe is 5'5".
The Joe Rogan post is an example. I would love to get your psychology about behind the tweets and the post on Truth.
I got to have at least 5.
Are you sometimes being intentionally provocative, or are you just speaking your mind? And are there times where you regret some of the truths you've posted?
Yeah, I do. I mean, but not that often, honestly. I do a lot of reposting. The ones you get in trouble with are the reposts, because you find down deep they're into some group that you're not supposed to be reposting. You don't even know if those groups are good, bad, or indifferent. But the reposts are the ones that really get you in trouble. When you do your own words, it's sort of easier. But the reposts go very quickly. And if you're going to check every single little symbol, and I don't know, it's worked out pretty well for me, I tell you.
It's a non-issue.
Truth is very powerful. Truth. And it's my platform.
Really?
And it's been very powerful. Very, very powerful. Goes everywhere.
I like how they put the followers in
I call it my typewriter.
It's
It's actually my typewriter.
What are you doing usually when you're composing a truth? Like, are you chilling back on a couch?
Composing a truth.
Couches, beds.
Okay.
A lot of different things. I mean,
like late at night.
I'd like to do some.
What are you
later.
doing when you're doing a truth?
I'm not a huge
Couches,
sleeper,
beds.
but whenever I do them, past like 3:00, they criticize you the next day. Trump was up truthing. Okay, Trump was truthing at 3:00 in the morning. And there should be no problem with that. And then when you think about time zones, how do they know that you're like, in a time zone, like an Eastern zone? So, but every time I do it after like 2 or 3:00, it's like, why is he doing that? But it's gotten, the truth has become a very successful
Tate, I agree, man. I agree.
Platform. And I like doing it. And it goes everywhere. As soon as I do it, it goes everywhere.
The country seems more divided than ever.
Yeah.
What can you do to help alleviate some of that division?
Well, you can get rid of these two people. They're terrible. They're terrible. You don't want to have them running this country. They're not equipped to run it.
What if it was just like to Lex?
Joe.
Lex, sweetie.
It's a disaster.
You're too serious. Laugh a little.
And
what would Lex's
Kamala,
reaction
I think she'll end up being worse than him. We'll see. I think a lot's now, the
Lex,
convention's over with. And I see I'm leading
Guys, I've accepted
just about all the polls
on
now.
Lex's podcast.
They had their little honeymoon period, as they call it. And we'll see how that all goes. Who knows? So.
From my personal opinion, I think you are at your best when you're talking about a positive vision of the future versus criticizing the other side.
Yeah, I think you have to criticize.
Yeah, you have to do it. I mean,
I think they're nasty.
Maybe he does a bit too much, but
they came up with a story that I looked down and I called soldiers that died in World War I suckers and losers. Okay,
very fine people.
Now, number one, who would say that? Number two, who would say it to military people? Nobody. It was a made-up story. It was just a made-up story. And they like to repeat it over again. They know it was made up. I have 26 witnesses that nothing was said. They don't want to hear about that. Like she lied on McDonald's. She said that she worked at McDonald's. It's not a big lie, but it's a big lie. It's so, they just went and they checked. And unless she can show something, they don't talk about, the presses are going to follow up with it, but I'll keep hammering it. But she never worked at McDonald's. It was just sort of a cool thing to say, hey, I worked at McDonald's,
Trying to relate.
But one of the worst was 2 days ago, I went to Arlington at the request of people that lost their children. There'll always be children to those people. You understand that. That's not politically incorrect thing to say. The mother comes up, I lost my child. But, the child is a soldier. And lost the child because of Biden and because of Kamala.
McDonald to flex?
Just as though they had the gun in their hand. Because it was so badly handled. It should have been done at Bagram, which is the big air base. It shouldn't have been done at a small little airport right in the middle of town.
I remember Bagram from Lone Survivor.
People stormed it. It was a true disaster. And they asked me if I'd come and celebrate with them 3 years. 3 years. They died 3 years ago. And I said, I'm going to try. I got to know them because I brought them here, actually. One night, they almost all came here. And they said, I wonder if Trump will actually come and see us. I heard they were here. I came, saw them. And we stayed for like 4 hours listening to music up on a deck right upstairs. Beautiful. And they were great people. So they called me over the last couple of weeks and they said, we're going to have a reunion, our 3-year reunion. Would you be able to come? And it was very hard for me to do it logistically, but I said, I'll get it done. And I got there and we had a beautiful time. I didn't run away. I didn't just walk in, shake hands and walk out like people do. And I wasn't looking at my watch like Joe Biden does. And it was amazing. So I did it for them. I didn't do it for me. I don't need the publicity. I mean, I get more publicity probably than anybody. You would know that better than me, but I think maybe more than anybody. Maybe more than anybody that's ever lived. I don't know, but I don't think anyone could have any more. Every time you turn on television, there's like 9 different stories, all on different topics, and they're all about Trump. As an example, you interview a lot of people, good people, successful people. Let's see how you do with this interview versus them, okay? I mean, I can tell you right now, you're going to get the highest numbers you've ever had by sometimes a factor of 10. But when
looks like he lives at McDonald's, maybe White Castle,
Gold
he's
Star
a weirdo. He might be like a White Castle
family
person.
asks me to come in and spend time with them, and then they said, "Sir," we did a ceremony, and then we went down to the graves, which was quite a distance away. They said, "Sir, would you come to the grave?" And then they said when we were there, it's very sad actually, because these people shouldn't have died. They shouldn't have died. They died because of Biden and because of Kamala. They died because, just like if they pulled the trigger, okay? Now, I don't know if that's controversial to say, but I don't think it is. Afghanistan was the most incompetently run operation I think I've ever seen, military or otherwise. They're incompetent. But the families asked me if I'd go.
I think early voting starts on the 6th.
Then the family said, could we have a picture at the tombstone of my son, and we did. Son or daughter, there was a daughter too. And I took numerous pictures with the families. I don't know if anybody else that was in the pictures, but they were mostly families, I guess. That was it. And then I left. I spent a lot of time with them. Then I left, and I get home that night, and I get a call that the Biden administration with Kamala is accusing me of using Arlington for publicity. I was in use just the opposite, just the opposite. And actually, did you see? It just came out.
Such a
The
desperation
families actually
attempt.
put out a very strong statement defending me. They said, we asked him to be there.
Well, politicians and the media can play those games. And you're right. Your name gets a lot of views. You're probably legit the most famous person in the world. But on the previous thing, in the spirit of unity, you used to be a Democrat.
Yeah.
Setting the politicians aside, what do you respect most about people who lean left, who are Democrats themselves or of that persuasion, progressives, liberals, and so on?
Well, look, I respect the fact that everybody's in there. And, to a certain extent, life is what you do while you're waiting to die. So you might as well do a good job. I think in terms of what's happening now, I think, we have a chance to save the
Classic
country.
liberals.
This country's going down.
You can respect
And I
them
called
for
it with Venezuela. I called it with a lot of different countries. And this country's going down. If we don't win this election, the election coming up on November 5th is the most important election this country's ever had. Because if we don't win it, I don't know that there'll be another election. And it's going to be a communist country or close.
And there's a lot of people listening to this, myself included, that doesn't think that Kamala is a communist.
Well, she's a Marxist.
Her father's a Marxist.
That's right.
And she's
It's
advocating
a little unusual,
She's advocating for some policies that are towards the direction of democratic socialism, let's say. But there's a lot of people that kind of know the way government works, and they say, well, none of those policies are going to actually come to reality. It's just being used during the campaign to, grow.
I don't understand the strategy. They're using communism to try and gain liberal votes. Like what? This is absurd.
These are too expensive. We need them cheaper. So let's talk about price controls, and that's never going to come to reality.
It could come to reality. Look, I mean, she came out.
What kind of an argument is that? So you're saying her policies are so bad they're never going to pass. That's why we should vote for her. How is that an argument?
With price control, it's been tried like 121 different times at different places over the years, and it's never worked once. It leads to communism. It leads to socialism. It leads to having no food on the shelves, and it leads to tremendous inflation.
It's just
a bad idea.
Whenever we use terms like communism for her, and I don't know if you know this, but some people call you a fascist.
Yeah, they do. So I figure it's all right to call them a communist. Yeah, they call me a lot worse than I call them.
They do indeed. It's just sometimes...
It's interesting, though. They'll call me something that's terrible, and then I'll hit them back. And they'll say, isn't it terrible what Trump said? I said,
the victim.
Oh, wait a minute. They just called me. So I believe you have to fight fire with fire. I believe they're very evil people. These are evil people. We have an enemy from the outside, and we have an enemy from within. And in my opinion, the enemy from within are radical left lunatics. And I think you have to fight back.
Whenever there's a lot of fighting fire with fire, it's too easy to forget that there's a middle of America that is that's moderate and kind of sees the good in both sides and just
Here
likes
comes
one
the
side more than
independent
the
party in
other in terms of
2028.
policies. Like I said, there's a lot of people that like your policies, that like your skill in being able to negotiate and end wars, and they don't see the impending destruction of America.
We had no wars when I was president. That's a big thing. Not since 78 years has that happened. But we had no wars when I was president. We defeated ISIS, but that was a war that was started that we weren't anywhere near defeating. But think of it, I had no wars. And Viktor Orban, the prime minister of Hungary, said the world has to have Trump back because everybody was afraid of Trump. Now, that's what he
Lex is
said. So I'm
clueless.
not using that term, but I think they respected me.
Lex
But he
taking
said
some heat.
China was afraid, Russia was afraid, everybody was afraid. And I don't care what word they use. Probably that's even a better word if you want to know the truth. But let's use the word respect. They had respect for me. They had respect for the country. I mean, I ended the Nord Stream 2 pipeline, the Russian pipeline. Nobody else could have done that. I ended it. It was done. Then Biden comes in and he approved it. So we're defending Germany and these other countries for peanuts compared to what it's worth. And they're paying the person we're defending them against billions and billions of dollars for energy. I said, how does that work? And we had it out with them, and it worked out good. And they paid hundreds of billions of
The problem
dollars.
is
Well, you wouldn't even
mainstream
have a
media.
NATO right now. You wouldn't have
Think about how
NATO
left
if it
they are
wasn't for
compared
me.
to, and the influence
As
that they
the
have
leader
compared
of the
to
United
80s.
States, you were the most powerful man in the world. As you mentioned,
Just
not only
Trump
the
bad,
most
Trump
famous,
bad,
but the
Trump
most
bad.
powerful. And if you become leader again, you will have unprecedented power. Just on your own personal psychology, what does
blew
that
up.
power do to you?
Yeah, I know.
Is there any threat of it corrupting how you see the world?
No, I don't think so. Look, I've been there for 4 years. I could have done a big number on Hillary Clinton. I thought it looked terrible to take the president's wife and put her in prison. She's so lucky. I didn't do anything. She's so lucky. Hillary is a lucky woman because I had a lot of people pushing me too. They wanted to see something, but I could have done something very bad. I thought it looked so bad. Think of it. You have the president of the
It looks
United States,
bad.
and you also had Secretary of State, right? She was. But you're going to put the president's wife in prison? And yet when I got out there,
Looks like a
they have all
vendetta.
these hoaxes. They're all hoaxes. But they have all these dishonest hoaxes, just like they did in the past with Russia. That was a hoax. The 51 different, agencies or agents, that was a hoax. The whole thing was a hoax. There was so many hoaxes and scams.
Everything involving Russia.
But I didn't want to put her in jail. And I didn't. And I explained it to people. They say, lock her up. It doesn't. We won. I said, we don't want to put her in jail. We want to bring the country together. I want to bring the country
You gotta
together.
focus on bigger things.
You don't bring the country together by putting her in jail. But then when I got out, they went to work on me. It's amazing. And they suffer from massive Trump derangement syndrome, TDS. And I don't know if it's curable from their standpoint.
A lot of people are very interested in the footage of UFOs. The Pentagon has released a few videos, and there's been anecdotal reports from fighter pilots.
Change your name. All right,
So
man.
a lot of people want to know, will you help push the Pentagon to release more footage, which a lot of people claim is available?
Oh, yeah, sure. I'll do
Lex
that.
is fine.
I would do that. I'd love to do that. I have to do that. But they also are pushing me on Kennedy. Mm-hmm. And I did release a lot, but I had people come to me and beg me not to do it. But I'll be doing that very early on.
Because of RFK
but I would
Jr.
do that.
There's a moment where you had some hesitation about Epstein, releasing some of the documents on Epstein. Why the hesitation?
I don't think I'm not involved. I never went to his island, fortunately. But a lot of people did.
Why do you think so many smart, powerful people allowed him to get so close?
He was a good salesman. He was, was a hale and hearty type of guy. He had some nice assets that he'd throw around, like islands. But a lot of big people went to that island. But fortunately, I was not one of them.
It's just very strange for a lot of people that the list of clients that went to the island has not been made public.
Yeah, it's very interesting, isn't it? Probably will be, by the way. Probably.
So if you're able to, you'll be...
Yeah, I'd certainly take a look at it. Now, Kennedy's interesting because it's so many years ago. They do that for danger, too, because, endangers certain people, et cetera, et cetera. So Kennedy is very different from the Epstein thing. But yeah, I'd be inclined to do the Epstein. I'd have no problem with it.
That's great to hear. What gives you strength when you're getting attacked?
to
You're one of
hear.
the most attacked people
That was a robot.
in the world.
I think you can't care that much. I know people that care so much about everything, like what people are saying. You can't care too much because you end up choking.
One of the tragic things about life is that it ends. How often do you think about your death? Are you afraid of it?
And I have a friend who's very, very successful, and he's in his 80s, mid 80s, and he asked me that exact same question.
It's Biden.
I turned it around. I said, well, what about you? He said, I think about it every minute of every day. And then a week later, he called me to tell me something. And he starts off the conversation by going, tick, tock, tick, tock.
Yeah.
Now, this is a dark person, in a sense, but it is what it is. I mean, if you're religious, you have, I think, a better feeling toward it. You're supposed to go to heaven, ideally not hell, but you're supposed to go to heaven if you're good. I think our country's missing a lot of religion. I think it really was a much better place with religion. It was almost a guide.
Well, he gets all the people that are religious.
You want to be good to
Atheists are
people.
crazy
Without
liberal.
religion, there are no guardrails. I'd love to see us get back to more religion in this country.
Well, Mr. President, thank you for putting yourself out there, and thank you for talking today.
Look, I love the country. I want to see the country be great. And we have a real chance of doing it, but it's our last chance. And I appreciate it very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Awkward.
Thanks for listening to this conversation with Donald Trump.
Oh,
to support this podcast, please check out our sponsors
Like,
in the
he's
description.
in a dungeon.
And now, as I've started doing here at the end of some episodes, let me make a few comments and answer a few questions. If you would like to submit questions, including
This is Dark Lex. This dude always does this, man. He's at the kids' table. Oh man. UFO stuff is fake to get the alien conspiracy theorists to back off and prevent them from revealing a new kind of plan that Russia. I mean, yeah, they bring it out when they need to. Lex has a interesting dungeon. You go into his dungeon when you do an interview with him. It looks like. I would watch the ending. Well, give me a summary on the ending or something. I'll see if I watch it.
President Biden.
just start laughing. Wait, hold on. Wait, watch the laugh. Haha, there it is. Yeah, I'm getting asked serious questions. So his defense mechanism now is to laugh. Mike Johnson going to... Yeah, I heard about that. That's very important, the SAVE Act. Because it gets them... they expose themselves. They have to admit they want illegals voting if they want to shut the government down over that. Yeah, dude, he's not at the White House. That's a set. I mean, look at that set. That's a bad set, too. They got wood... They got like freaking wood paneling from a old house. I mean, they do have sets. And then they give him a kiddie table. Dude, he can barely walk at this point. Can he stand up, or does he need to use the table for assistance? Can somebody help him? Somebody's got to help him. He's laughing again. Yeah, use the table. Use the table.
President Biden, do you support free IVF?
He can barely move.
Thank you.
Dark Brandon smile. That's his new thing, is smiling. The damn smile. Oh man, I remember that. It was good for Trump to be on. Yeah, doing a big podcast is good. Lex was not good at engaging. Yeah. Well, Lex, that's typical Lex, honestly. Yeah, I watched that DNC video. I think I watched some of it on live stream. It was pretty when he was inside the DNC. That was the best part. And talking to old people and stuff. He does look like a corpse. But he can barely get up. He like has to use the table to get up. It's really bad. Biden's slowly smiling is creepy. Yeah, he's adopted this new smile towards the end. He has to do the smile now. It's his safety mechanism. It's his defense. Whenever someone asks him a tough question, he just smiles and like gives a laugh. He smiles after he poops. He probably shit himself again. I mean, George. I mean, they admitted he shit himself several times. I don't think that's actually Biden. It does look like him, but he looks a little shorter. Remember the one fake Biden who was like 6'7"? They're like, oh, we shouldn't have brought this one out. This is not believable. This one's not believable. Who do you think is actually running the country? It's probably divided between establishment Democrats. Who's the final one making decisions? I don't know. I mean, people say Obama. Did you hear his weird rant about Catholics and coal mines? No, I didn't hear about that. Was that at the rally? Biden is a fossil. He might be older than some of the fossils we have, honestly. True, Lex never mentioned the assassination. Yeah, he did. He didn't mention it at all. Biden should talk about vice president. I do remember that. Yeah, Lex didn't mention. There was no question about the assassination attempt. Opinion on Candace Owens. I mean, it's I think she tries to appear a certain way. I mean, some of the things she says, I guess I like. Biden's had plastic surgery. Well, normally, I'm sure Pelosi. Normally, the women get it. Probably Nancy. It's probably divided up between them. It's not like Nancy Obama, some bullshit concoction. Vote for Kamala solely because she's a woman. Yeah, I haven't heard that nearly as much this go around. Like with Hillary in 2016, it did feel like there were a lot of people that were voting for her just because she was a woman. And a lot of it had to do with, I think, just the narrative surrounding it. Like, to be fair, this whole, like, oh, it's the first female president. They didn't want this. They wanted Biden to be the guy. The only reason she's even in is because Biden croaked on the debate stage. Like with Hillary, they really were all in on Hillary. With Kamala, it's just like she's the second option. Yeah, I did see the stock market went down. Dr. Phil. Dr. Phil had an interview. What's up, Candyman? If I remember correctly, it wasn't a direct question, but in true Lex fashion, he asked about death. No, you're right. He did ask about death, but Trump didn't really bring it up during that question. Trump just said it is what it is when it came to death. He could have brought it up. He could have drew the parallel. Like he's a millisecond away from dying. Excited for the debate. Yeah, the debate should be good. I'm sure they're definitely going to try and paint a different narrative. The liberals will, that's for sure. Yeah, he's after all this, man. He's appeared in back-to-back days in public. He's going to get like a 3-week vacation for this. There might be a new meme after the election of Jill Biden on her knees crying and begging to let her stay in the White House longer. Well, apparently Waltz's wife is kind of like Jill. What's up, Paul? She's DEA. Well, it admitted DEI from they admitted it. That's why she was picked. What was oh dude, did you see Jean Pierre trying dude, this was sad. This this was real sad. Well, what is
To
this?
highlight and show us what's being highlighted. We're doing that today to highlight and show we're just getting started.
Oh my god.
Folks.
He can't even sit down. It takes him an hour to sit down. Oh my god. Dude, he's got to be done. This is come on.
Since when does the different topic? Since when does the vice president have what sounds like a southern accent?
Better thank a union member for sick leave. You better thank a union member for paid leave. And you all helped us win in 2020, and we're going to do it again in 2024. I have no idea what you're talking about.
Dude, the way she says, I have no idea. It's like one of those sitcoms where it's meant to be so bad. Like, you know, the person is lying and the acting is so bad. Like she knows it's just such a
2020, and we're going to do it again in 2024. I have no idea what you're talking about.
Well,
I mean, this is...
she was talking about unions in Detroit using one
dude,
tone of voice.
This is a joke.
Is this something that
Same
you think...
line
Okay, Peter,
that
let's...
she
Dude, these two are
used the
dating,
same
I
line
think.
in
I don't know.
Pittsburgh, and it sounded like
she
she at least had
lesbian?
some kind of a southern
I think...
drawl.
I mean,
What?
do you hear the question?
She's like, I have no idea what you're talking about. But she says it like it's such a lie. You just gotta hear
I
it.
mean, do you think Americans seriously think that this is an important question? They care. You know what they care about? They care about the economy. They care about lowering
Yes,
costs.
and that's
they
the
care
problem.
About healthcare.
What if he was just like, yes, that's the problem. That's your administration sucks. The problem, the economy. That's the issue.
That's what Americans care about.
So
I think they care about hearing from the candidate, but she's only done one interview. What if he said that
That's
to her?
what they want to
well,
hear.
this is something-
They care about. Your colleague just asked me about basically
care
we
about
talked
hearing
about
from the
one back and
candidate,
forth about
right?
democracy and freedom. That's
I-
what they care
I
about. I'm not
agree.
even going to entertain some question about the It's just hearing it sounds so.
You ask, did Trump turn down the Rogan podcast? He was not particularly happy about doing it. He said, I'll do it, but it wasn't like he's like, yeah, I want to do that. I think it's important. So it was very coy for sure. It wasn't
So ridiculous. In 20, and we all help. You better thank a union member for paid leave. And you leave. You better thank a union member for paid leave. And you for sick leave. You better thank a
oh
union
my
member.
god. she's like, I don't know what you're talking about. And she like knew she was lying. It was so bad. This is the first time I've seen Corinne Jean-Pierre in like a month. I don't know where she went. Chucky Lovedell. Oh man. I think Lex did some hardcore drugs and he's well no, honestly that's how Lex always is. He always looks mellowed. Kamala is running the country right now. If she wins, it won't be any different. Well, Jack, you're half right. She's not running the country right now, and if she wins, she still won't be running the country. So I mean, you're half right. But I mean, she's just a cog. It's like Biden. Have you seen the latest lawsuits by the Democrats? The lawsuits against who? What do you think about Waltz leaving when asked? Well, whenever Waltz gets asked a question, he's like, "All right, guys, I gotta go." He's like, time's up." They're like, "Tim, can you actually answer something?" And he's like, "Time's up." He's like, "Gotta go." Dude, he had ice cream. It's just a weird. You gotta thank a union member. Rogan said something like Trump wouldn't do well in a long form discussion because of the way he talks. But for some reason, Gabbard and Bernie Sanders. Well, it's starting to become like these are like third grade girls. Can we just do the podcast? I mean, really? Now we're like, oh, he doesn't talk well. Like, come on. Let's just see the podcast. Change the name back to the Washington Redskins. That's not going to happen, unfortunately. Yeah, the Doritos, they're still looking for him. Oh, man. Rogan doesn't want the backlash, but does it matter? I mean, aren't you rich enough to not care about that? He said he'd be a dictator. Right, I know. It's a. He was metaphorically speaking on the amount of executive orders he would sign. Look how many executive orders Biden signed, more than Trump. So isn't he a dictator then, more so than Trump by their own logic? Because he was referencing the executive orders he would sign. You're right. How come no one is talking about when Biden said, "I'm voting for Trump because she's the most qualified Well, I mean, Biden's messed up so many times. It's almost it's a regular occurrence. It's like, just leave him alone. It's elderly abuse. If we go at him this much, it's just elderly abuse. You better thank a you. Wait, dude, wait, hold on.
Doesn't have what sounds like a southern accent.
I have no idea what you're talking about. I mean, this is.
She was talking about you.
Dude, she said it like she knew she was lying.
Accent.
I have no idea what you're talking about. I mean, this is.
This is. I mean, you know you're lying.
Using
what if he was just like, okay, you know you're lying. Why did you just do that? Why did you say it like that? What if he said that? What if he's like, why have you been eyeballing my crotch this whole time? I have no idea what you're talking about. What happened on The View? They shared a dick pic of Trump. They're big Trump fans now. Never watched The View. Yeah, well. I only see clips from The View. I don't even know what channel The View is on. I think it's maybe ABC, NBC? CBS? Meaningless lawsuits filed by lawyers who will be sanctioned. Yeah, I mean, what are they even suing Trump for? It's a joke. Yeah, they're dating, dude. It's gonna come out in a year that they're like engaged, and people are gonna be like, "What the fuck?" They are dating secretly, and then in a year they'll be like, "Yeah, we're engaged." Oh, okay. Congratulations. No shot. The View polls more than 1 million viewers. Yeah, but like those people that imagine they try and they fire them, and Whoopi's like, "How dare you try and fire a black woman? This is discrimination." Remember when Chuck Schumer? Yeah, I remember Chuck. I like Chuck Schumer. Chuck Schumer is he's a cockroach. The Tim Pool lawsuit. Well, Tim Pool was like, my lawyers have seen this. We will be in contact shortly. Tim Pool coming out with the big guns. Nuclear weapons lawsuit by Raskin. That dude is a clown. I mean, he said he wasn't going to certify the election if Trump won because of Trump January 6th stuff. Trump does have a pretty easy path. I mean, listen, the context of Trump's path is just, I mean, they literally, I mean, they had to take out Biden because they took out the president because he's so bad. We haven't, I mean, it's we never seen something like that. Oh, not the keys, man. Yeah, dude, that was my best all time reaction when he could when the teleprompter broke. Kaboom, kaboom, bro, dude. The teleprompter broke, and he just stood there, and he was like, and then he's like, I mean, he couldn't compute because he was so focused on reading off that teleprompter. Yeah, New York and California did lose electoral votes. Will Howard looked great. I thought he looked all right. I mean, I think he'll be better than McCord. You ready for the town hall tomorrow with Fox News and Trump? That should be good. Yeah. Do you know what state is that in? Is it Pennsylvania? Probably. I mean, it seems like everything's in Pennsylvania. You better thank a union member. Oh man. Imagine the best. Well, they keep doing. Yeah, they won't shut up about Project 2025. I mean, listen, it must have worked at least at the start if they keep saying it. And Trump's had to denounce it like 20 times. Drew S. I appreciate that, man. I appreciate it. Just subscribe to I appreciate it, man. Think Oklahoma's a dark horse playoff team? No, I agree, man. I think Oklahoma, they've got the talent to make the playoffs for sure, but they or the playoff, I should say. But they the problem with them is just the schedule. It's a tough schedule. It is in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. Gonna do a live stream for it? I might. I might try and stream more. Yep, it's in Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania, the capital of the election. How many more lawsuits do you think Trump will have? An infinite, as many as possible, because they hate Trump's. They're deranged. They hate Trump. Well, Kamala's just not qualified. I mean, they never wanted her in this spot. She wasn't supposed to be in this spot. It was supposed to be Biden. He was so horrible. I mean, and now she's just making up accents and this woman.
Well,
I mean, this is. I have no idea what you're talking about.
I have no idea what you're talking about. Oh man. Who gets drafted higher, Shador or Travis Hunter? I think Shador is probably going to go to the Giants if I had to guess. Travis Hunter, I mean, it just depends who's picking where. Shador will probably go higher because he's a quarterback. Will you live stream the debate? Yeah. It seems like everyone's forgotten how fake the steal does. Yeah, that's completely illegal. They just faked dossier that was funded by Hillary. And it just wrecked Trump's administration and all they did. That was the entire narrative. Trump's an illegitimate president for 2.5 years. If I live stream on election night, yeah, it'll probably be, I would say the election night stream. I think dude, you know what I was looking back? Trump won the election in 2016 by like 2 a.m., honestly. So if I start the stream at like 5 o'clock, it's probably going to be like 9 hours because I think Trump's going to win by like 2 a.m. Maybe 1:30. He's probably going to win pretty early because they're going to count votes better this time. And now they've got a system to do it. Please do a liberal meltdown montage. Oh, dude, I found this liberal channel. Let me see. Oh, dude, this channel. Dude, if you like every video, it just looks like some loser. And I'm not even kidding you. I'm not being over dramatic. Let me show you people this. People have to see this. This account, it was from the one dude. This is the account. Well, first look at this. So that's how we start. That's how we start this account. But Wait, where's the one dude? Oh, this is the woman that got so mad at the gold starred families. Oh, she's got a lot. Yeah, she's got a lot of courage. Oh, he's got a cowboy hat and he's a liberal. We must bow down to you, sir. Sir, you have reached the fifth dimension. You have a cowboy hat on and you're liberal because you know so much more than us. Oh my God. Please, please share with us some of your knowledge. Please, you have a cowboy hat on. The cowboy hat. Oh my God. Dude,
60-ish days away from the election, and I tell you, I am getting the same vibe I got in 2008 with Obama. Kamala has come in like a freight train, and she is going to stomp Trump out of existence.
Dude, he doesn't even believe that.
I
Dude,
have
you don't believe
friends
that.
who are
Dude,
finally coming out of the woodwork, hitting me up on DM and message saying, I can't believe I invested 10 years into this.
I've invested 10 years into it. I can't believe I invested into the amount of inflation. Whoa, Grammy. What in the fuck is this? What is this? Is this a liberal thirst trap? What is this?
The mother.
Dude, what is this?
Belly bloated.
Is this a Kamala's theme song?
And freckled with flies.
His eyes, that dude looked traumatized. Oh my God. What is this?
Today on a nice, kind of cooler wind day, but it's muggy.
They're saving
we
American
knocked on
democracy.
56 stores today, especially in a senior community. And
Wait, so they loved American democracy. So I'm curious. Kamala Harris is the pillar of American democracy. So how many votes did she get during the primary? Can somebody answer that? Oh, she got 0. I'm sorry. Dude, I've been losing my train of I'm sorry. That was my bad. I forgot she got 0. I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry. Ugh. All right, you get the gist. I can't keep doing these people, man. Come on. Kamala Harris was up 1 on this poll on July 24th. 4th, she has not gotten the post-convention bounce, if anything. Yeah, well, we knew that, and that was explained that was going to happen. It's a fake bounce anyways, and she already got it. The guy is out of breath on a light walk. Oh, man. Oh, man. How many excuses will the Dems have, and how many electoral votes? Well, listen, we all know Russia's going to hack in and give... I mean, listen, Russia will hack in and give Trump like 400 electoral votes, I think. Now, Trump will get like 312 electoral votes probably, but they'll just say Russia hacked it. I mean, Russia probably will hack it, let's be honest, guys. Mark Cuban did a poll and Russia hacked it. Dude, guys, Mark Cuban did a poll and it said, who would be, like, who would you rather have your kids be modeled after, Trump or Kamala? And Trump got like 70%. And then Mark Cuban was like, guys, I think Russia hacked it. I'm trying to trace VPNs and they're all from Russia. And so they all have to claim that Russia hacks everything. And Boston College versus Georgia Tech ACC title game, must watch. Imagine. There's no way, man. Come on. It'll be Miami. Really want to see the purple hair girl screaming in her face at the reporter again. Remember in 2016? Or the next president of the United States, Donald John Trump. No! Wait, you remember there was a dude that got beat up today by a transgender. And they were like, wait, you support Trump? And he's like, yes. And then they just tried beating him up. 298 to 313. Yeah, I mean, it's somewhere within there. Yeah, Crook's dad, that whole situation is off, man. That whole situation is off. If Kamala gets crushed in the debate, it's Russian disinformation. Yeah, no, you're right, Matthew. It adds up. It does make sense. It would be Russia disinformation. They were trying to blame something on Russia. It was the most ridiculous thing. I forgot what it was. It was something to do with the debate versus Biden or something. Brian Taylor Cohen. Yeah, that crazy lib. Yeah. That dude's a buffoon. Is it true the possibility of RFK replacing Vance as VP? No, it's not gonna happen. Watch Trump get 325 and they storm the White House. Well, that would be a nice blowout. CNN should have a live Van Jones reaction cam. Well, in the debate, I think they're going to be singing a lot different of a tune because there's no fallback plan for them. So they're pretty much stuck with Kamala. So unless Kamala gets absolutely crushed, I'm sure they'll say she did well or she was okay or something like that. They're going to compare her against Biden and say, oh, look how much better she did. And that's going to be kind of their cope, I'm guessing. That's what I can read from it right now. Dave Packman is work. Yeah, I mean they're all white dudes who, they weigh about 110 pounds soaking wet. They're all same. They're all the same archetype. They're all the same character. They're sprinkled throughout YouTube, and they all say the same shit. If Trump wins, CNN hosts will be CNN will be losing it. Well, actually, I mean CNN, the network, will probably like it because they'll get more views from a Trump administration. Could Biden get a revenge arc? Dude, Biden is it's time to put Biden out to pasture. It's just not going to happen. He's got nothing left in the tank. He can barely stand up. When he stands up, he has to hold onto the desk to stand up to leverage himself. Mike's confirmed muted. Correct. Yes, and she's showing up. Yeah. Nothing was changed. The mics will be muted. And she is showing up. You were spot on saying that the mics muted helped Trump. Yeah, I know. It just makes him look more presidential. That's why they tried to unmute him with Harris. They're the ones that wanted him muted in the first place. Hopefully Trump doesn't snap on Kamala if she's disrespect. Well, it's going to be hard for her to because the muted mics, it's going to be hard for her to do that like she did against Pence. Mainstream media were saying Biden won the debate. Well, they said that he won on substance is what they said. That was their cope, that he won on substance, but he looked bad early and that, but if you actually got down to the substance, then he won. When were you going on Piers Morgan? Did I say I was going on Piers Morgan? I never was offered to go on Piers Morgan, personally. CNN needs Trump. Yeah, I mean, they all need Trump, all those news networks. Biden's revenge arc as if he can make it down the stairs. Yeah, I really think they could. Pac-Man was calling out Biden for being on the ticket while BTC on Piers Morgan were glazing Biden. Yeah, no. You are right. It is interesting. There was definitely a team of establishment Dems who just loved Biden and sucked his dick no matter what. And then there was the younger people who they did want Biden gone. There were a lot of Dems that wanted Biden gone, and it's obvious why. I mean, there was no way Biden was going to win, so obviously they're trying to say get rid of him. But there were still a lot of Democrats that wanted to keep Biden even after the debate. What if the Trump turnout is bad for the election? Well, then that would be very bad. If he got bad turnout, then I'm sure he would lose. I mean, you get bad turnout, you're not going to win unless somehow they both get really bad turnout. What is your debate prediction for who wins? Well, I mean, I would hope Trump would win. I'm going to do a video previewing it, but not for a few days, but maybe like on the 8th or the 9th, I'll do a preview on it. I mean, I think normally they release the topics like a day before. They normally do release the topics a little bit early. We beat Medicare. Yeah, you beat it to death. Why is RFK? Oh yeah, this is really weird that they have RFK Jr. at 5. Oh, this is from July. Dude, what? Oh, why would the Detroit News include RFK Jr.? Oh, because he can't leave the ballot. But still, that doesn't make a lot of sense. He's telling people in Michigan to vote for Trump and not him. So I don't know why he would get 5%, but I mean, Trump has been winning a few polls in Michigan, that's for sure. This is so much different than a kick chat. Yeah, kick chats are crazy. I really don't go. I don't watch streamers anyways. But I know Kick is like a really edgy platform. Trump is like the only incumbent to gain more votes for his. Yeah, I know. Isn't it crazy? Well, dude, that's the whole thing. How Biden got just the absurd record votes. Like normally, see, they'll say, well, there's more people, in the United States, so obviously the people are going to get more and more votes. But he got so much more votes, like in terms of having a record. It was like, come on. And they really had to juice it. I mean, he won by 40,000 votes. He won by nothing. What do you think is going to happen in the presidential election? Well, I think Trump's going to win. Remember when there was a segment on January 6th? Segment during the debate? You laughed at that idea of being a topic, and they asked like 3 questions. During the debate, there was a segment about January. Well, listen, Trump's really not going to answer questions about that. I mean, it's very obvious that's what his strategy is. RFK is suing to get off the ballot. Yeah, I know. We'll see if he can. It's going to be hard, though, man. Those people want him to stay on. I mean, I guess we'll see. I don't know if he'll win it or not. I'd have to look into it. The Democrats have confirmed that Vance is a Russian puppet. It's always Russia. I think Vance is like a communist Soviet member. You're right. Thoughts on Chris Cuomo? He's trying to have like a conservative redemption. Yeah, I see him on PBD. I don't know, man. Chris Cuomo, he's trying to have a redemption. People don't like him, though. Go on Our Politics and start a fight with libs. It's impossible. You get downvoted. You won't be able to see your comment. It's not. It's an echo chamber. Going on Our Politics is not where you want to debate people. You're not gonna. go on Our Politics. Oh man. Trump will win, then they won't certify it. Well, there has been a thought that they won't certify it. Raskin said that they were not going to because of January 6th, and Trump was illegitimate because he started an insurrection, so he can't be president again. I don't think they're going to do that, but if they do, it's going to be a civil war. It can't happen. That cannot happen. Poor Vance. The Dems are just when you get to the Russian stuff, when you it's like the Dems default. It's like press Russia if panic. It's their default. So now they've come full circle. Vance should be like, now we've come full circle. Now I'm getting the Russian allegations. This is just part of it. This is part of it. It's all about Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania's a huge state, yes. I love Tulsi. Yeah, Tulsi is great. That she's with Trump and campaigning now. It's awesome. Are you streaming the debate? The debate? Yeah, I am. Will you do another call stream? Yeah, I'll do one. I mean, we barely did one. It got hijacked. I gotta do one where I can mute people. Ryan Binkley is, yeah, he is Russian. You're right. They're gonna start. They're gonna, that poor guy. He got 10 votes. They're gonna start calling him Russia. Will the debates have an all-you-can-eat buffet? Asking for a friend named Chris. Well, that's a bit of a low blow at Chris Christie. Come on now. Chris Christie gets that's a stray. That's a stray right there. Am I moving to Russia? No, I did announce though, if Trump loses, I am moving to Antarctica. That was announced. Mornings are always great. Watching The View cry about Trump. I also love how the so-called conservative. Yeah, that's what CNN does as well. They pile. Well, actually, the Scott Jennings isn't too bad with CNN, but what they'll do is they'll have a panel and there'll be one conservative, three really far left raging libs, and then one like moderate lib to try and like balance it out. And the conservative just gets dogpiled on, and they try and make the conservative look bad because it's a 3 or a 4-on-1. The debate, the Trump Harris debate is in a week, so it's Tuesday night on the 10th. It's a week from tonight. Will you do a September 11th stream? Yes, yeah, I will. Cuomo is supposed to testify in front of Congress about sending people to nursing homes. Really? Andrew? Trump needs a huge Virginia rally with. Yeah, no, I agree. I think Trump needs to expand his map. You can't rely on some of these Rust Belt states. They're too close. If you can snipe another state like a Virginia, it makes things so much more easier. I'd love to see Chris Christie run. Period. Yeah, Chris. I think Chris has lost some serious weight. That's what I heard. Kamala refuses to do interviews because they are hacked by Russia. Yeah, well, what this is the new thing that the Democrats are saying. They hack Kamala's mouth and make her say bad words, and so she can't do interviews now. You can't rely on Arizona. Well, I mean, Arizona is a state that is going to be extremely close. There's no way you can't rely on it. I think you can rely on North Carolina though, because Trump's won that state twice. Trump should have a rally in Vermont. What, to see Bernie Sanders? How many people are on Ozempic? Seriously, this is getting out of control, man. There's got to be millions and millions. Does Antifa even exist anymore? Yeah, well, they're not an actual movement. They're just funded, but specifically by George Soros to run around and cause havoc. So they'll be around if they get a paycheck. I mean, why do you think they all wear the same thing with masks and they all look the same? I mean, it's a joke. and then they get arrested, and these people, they're all like they're all like drug heads who need money, and you can tell by looking at their mugshots. It's Trump having a rally in Honolulu. What's the most random place Trump could have a rally? Boston, Massachusetts. The most random place Trump could have a rally. Wyoming. I mean, Maryland. I can tell we aren't going to win the popular vote. No, I think Trump has a chance to win the popular vote. I can understand what you're saying though. It's probably he's gonna lose by like less than a point, but I still think he could win it. Trump is on Ozempic. I don't know, man. It's Trump's lost some weight. It looks like I don't know what he's on, but it wouldn't surprise me. Providence, Rhode Island, Burlington, Virginia, Portland, Oregon. Yeah, rally in Portland, Oregon. That would no Alaska rally. Rhode Island. Gary, Indiana. That is the most abandoned, messed up city in the U.S. Yeah, the DNC was a complete dud. It didn't do anything. It made it worse, actually. I don't think Carrie Lake's gonna win. It's gonna be hard for her to win. Communist bow. That's his signature. That's his signature move. The communist bow, the Kamala laugh. I mean, Biden's got several signature. I gotta give Biden credit. I mean, he's got the whisper, he's got the smile. Biden really breaks out a lot of different stuff. Puerto Rico. Guam. I think Guam is the most random. Because technically it's a unincorporated American territory, U.S. territory or whatever. Is Trump really pulling out of New Hampshire? I did see that. I mean, I don't know where that was from. I mean, I don't know, man. It's for electoral votes. I think Harris is having rallies in New Hampshire or something. That's what I heard as well. Denver. I mean, but Denver at least has a bunch of people. Denver, I mean, and plus Colorado's not crazy liberal. I'm sure Denver is liberal just because it's a big city, but Colorado, it's not crazy liberal. Carrie Lake is a horrible candidate. Trump. Yeah, no, I agree. I think I mean, she just pulls so badly. That is true. Well, hopefully the Republicans have significant ballot harvesting going on. We still need to. Yeah, they're going to win the Senate for sure, and I think they'll win the House as long as Trump wins as well. Is it possible for the Electoral College to be biased? Well, the liberals will say it's biased because they think it should be based on popular vote. So yeah, they think it is biased. If they win the popular vote by 3 points, they think they should win the election. But no, it's based off of proportionate population to give everyone representation. Otherwise, I mean, see, this is how dumb these people are. They think our elections should be decided by New York City and LA when everyone is fleeing those states because of the dumbass things they voted for. But no, let's let those people vote and decide the general election with popular vote. Isn't that's the dumbest thing? Everybody is leaving those states because of how dumb those people voted. But then they want those states to decide the election. What is the least liberal big city? Oklahoma City, you think? Yeah, you know what? I had asked that question a while ago. What's the least? I think it was a city in Texas, maybe. Although I don't know. No, I think the Texas cities are pretty liberal. Huh. Oklahoma City, maybe. I mean, yeah, probably because Oklahoma's like really conservative all the way around. Yeah, he had a good turnout in the Bronx. I mean, anywhere where there's a large population, you can have a good turnout, obviously. Yeah, why would she be campaigning in New Hampshire if Trump pulled out? That's ridiculous. That's a waste of time if she's campaigning there then. So it doesn't make sense that Trump pulled out and said he's going to lose New Hampshire. Kamal has a rally at a brewery in Northampton, New Hampshire. Really? At a brewery? Trump's third time running for president. He knows it. Yeah, I mean it is rare to have Trump, to have somebody run for three times. A baseball YouTube vid idea. Why don't you do the best views of behind home plate in each MLB stadium? I don't know. Well, like the luxury seats behind home plate. We're getting an upload on the Trans Killers. Yeah, no, Trans Festo. I already saw that, dude. They hate the trans. What is it? A girl or they hate white people. I mean, have you seen that? They hate Christians. No wonder they silenced that manifesto. I mean, they silenced that thing immediately. Normally, it always gets released. Oh, no wonder. Yeah, it is available. I saw it on X earlier. A brewery feels like her natural habitat. Oh God, don't send her to a brewery. Oh, she drinks wine. Yeah, I feel like that's the demographic. Trump rally at Progressive Field. Eagles Packers players have been strongly advised against leaving their hotels while in Brazil. I'm surprised they didn't move this game. They probably got a bunch of money, like it's a deal with Peacock or some bullshit. Shush. What a mess.
Just like his father did, and McCain his political views, and he served our country honorably, just like his father did. And I deeply respect the McCain family service to the United States. Fox. But look, he's a political figure here. He's obviously endorsing Kamala Harris. He wants to be a surrogate for Kamala Harris's campaign. I still don't think Donald Trump deserves to be pilloried the way that he is. He was invited by Gold Star families. He honored their request. He made a.
But why is this so ridiculous? Why are they so focused on this? They really think they can smear Trump? I mean, let's put this into context. He went to honor families. There was no photo op. He was the president of the United States, so he was there, and somebody took photos of him. It's not like he had a photo op.
Social media post. He's not making a TV ad here. And although there's a lot of talk about him violating a sacred area, the Gold Star families who issued videos about this particular event are more than happy that he was there, and they are more than angry with Kamala.
Waltz ruined my state. Many of my friends left. Minnesota, yeah, Waltz is a disaster. What do you think about an official Kamala channel here yesterday? This platform is very left agenda in AI, wait, they censored communists? They censored the word communists in the comments, really? Yeah, Scott Jennings is the MAGA guy that tries to defend Trump on CNN. Who else do you think will be added from the Democrats to Trump's campaign? Probably, everyone keeps asking me that. It's going to be nobody that's like an actual liberal. You have to understand. It'll be like, there's no actual liberal that's on the team that's going to switch. It's just, especially for Trump, it's just not going to happen. There's just no way. Like, imagine the people that switched, like Kissinger. I mean, these people are just, I don't know who's going to switch. I had heard some people that possibly were going to, but it's not going to be anyone surprising like, oh my God, it's an actual liberal who supported, Hillary and Biden. It'll be like some independent who's technically a liberal, and now they're like, oh, we have to vote Trump. Did anyone even know who Waltz was before he was chosen? Yeah, no, it was the most random VP pick because they wanted Shapiro, and there was a big. They said no, it's not going to happen. Shapiro's Jewish. He supported. He wanted to go against the whole, protesters, the obnoxious protesters, and everything like that. There's a YouTuber named Jen that does independent reporting, and the media is trying to cancel him for his video on Brazil and riding with Brazilian cops catching. Well, dude, that Brazil thing is a mess, and it's really bad because Tim Walz, someone within Tim Walz's campaign, or like, I don't know, his right-hand man or someone was like endorsed it. So I need to really do a video on that and talk about that because that's really bad because it seems like liberals are really jealous of what's happening and they want to implement that here in the United States, and Trump needs to say that. The liberals, they don't disavow that stuff at all. They think it's good. Kamala Harris said, and I'm not even kidding you, she said basically that they were going to heavily regulate, potentially censor X, and she said, they're going to try and put Musk in jail, I think, for sure. And then people say, well, why won't they do it right now? Well, because it's insanely unpopular, so they can't do it right now. They'll lose the election. Remember, it's these people, they have a mask on. And then they say, well, Trump has a mask on too. We just watched Trump do an hour-long podcast, his like 20th podcast. Trump, I've done 2 different videos within the last 4 months on long lists of Trump's campaign promises. Long lists. One video was like 20 minutes. The other video was 25 minutes going through Trump's 20 promises. And the other video was something about his website as well. So Trump has this, Trump is so transparent. And these people, they just think they deserve, the entitlement is just so crazy. The level of entitlement from those people. She did not win a single primary election. And she thinks she's entitled to do one half-assed interview with no policy at all. And then just get into the White House. It's just like if you're an independent, you have to see this. Just it's not even like, oh, you're biased, you're crazy right wing. We have the numbers. It's 34 interviews versus 1 interview. She doesn't have a policy on her website. This is real stuff. It's not, oh, you're crazy bias. This is just the numbers. The numbers are the numbers. It's just so obvious. Swifties will see Pennsylvania and other states turn red. Well, yeah, I'm sure Taylor Swift is going to endorse. Well, I don't know if she will. I think she might stay out of this election. It's really ravenous. Look at what happened to Brittany Mahomes. You ever think that half the things you're saying are just conspiracy theories? What, dude, that word is so tired. Like, oh, conspiracy. It's just such a bullshit word. It's just, people just call whatever they don't like a conspiracy theory. That's exactly it, actually. That's exactly it. How do you feel about Vance? I think Vance is a smart dude. Listen, we have to admit the left they were able to define Vance. That's what they always talk about when a VP gets picked. Are you able to define him? Well, they defined him with not, the one comment about angry cat ladies, which was a correct comment, but unfortunately the mainstream media was able to manipulate it, and that's why Vance's approval rating is bad. But his approval rating doesn't matter at all. It's just irrelevant. But I like Vance. I thought there were better options, but it is what it is. It's a VP pick. People keep saying Waltz will help turn Wisconsin blue. Really? I haven't heard that anywhere. I think Waltz was just kind of picked as like duct tape, honestly. I really haven't heard anything about Waltz turning states at all. But maybe there are liberals saying that. I don't know. What if Barack Obama replaced? He can't. No one on the left cares that she isn't doing it. Well, that doesn't matter what people on the left think. The left would vote for a corpse over Trump. It's about independence. Taylor Swift. Yeah, no, I could definitely see that the Taylor Swift. But remember, remember when Hillary had that massive, what was it? It was a concert with Beyonce, I think, on like the day before the election in Philadelphia. So I wonder what's going to happen there. Well, dude, conspiracy theories is just a bullshit buzzword. Wait. Did you ever hear the mainstream media call the Russian hoax when they questioned that they said that Russia stole the election for Trump? Was that ever referred to by CNN as a conspiracy theory? No, not once. That shows you how biased it is. They never refer to that as a conspiracy theory. Trump not getting shot, do they talk about that being a conspiracy theory? Nope. Well, they don't even talk about that. To be fair, that is the far. Actually, I don't know. There was a poll that 44% of liberals thought that Trump didn't get shot. I think they were making a big deal about Trump at Arlington because they were trying to distract from all the bad military related. Well, I just find it. I think there has to be a lot of desperation to do this. A lot of desperation. They're trying to make Trump look bad for honoring fallen soldiers that were killed in part because of Biden's incompetence. That's really what we're going for. Okay. Taylor won't endorse anyone. Yeah, that's a hellstorm if she does endorse anyone. Don't see Taylor Swift endorsing parents buy tickets. That's true. If Trump was in Brazil, he would be. Oh, Trump would be. Yeah, Trump would have. Trump would be banned from everything. I mean, that's how scary some of these countries are, man. And it's endorsed. That behavior is endorsed by a lot of liberals. They like that. I mean, Harris said that she basically endorsed what Brazil is doing. The Apprentice movie comes out on. Really, what is that? About Trump? Yeah, I remember. I remember her having that. Yeah, Harris will definitely have a more modest event than that because that was such a meme when that happened, and like they had this huge thing and she lost the glass ceiling. What about those gold star families who have called out Harris for BS? Says to me, yeah, I know. Like, dude, well, do you want to know how crazy it is? And this is just libs on TikTok, but now they're starting going after the families. So now they're saying the families are bad people because first it was, well, Trump's this big bad egotistical. He wants the spotlight. He did this for a photo op, and then they realized that no, it was the Gold Star families who invited Trump, and so now they're lashing out at the families. I mean, that's how bad it's gotten. She wanted Mayor Pete. Harris wanted Mayor Pete. Buttigieg. Obama wanted Mark Kelly as the president. Yeah, I know. The campaign wanted Shapiro. The Harris campaign wanted Shapiro. Well, then why'd they pick Waltz? But Harris wanted Buttigieg. I didn't even hear that. I don't remember seeing that. Oh god, dude! If this movie, are you serious, man? This movie coming out in October. I'm gonna have to look this up now. What's up with Brazil? Modern day liberal. Well, no, it's worse. They censored X because Elon Musk and a lot of Americans do not agree with what's going on in Brazil. They're going to overthrow that government, I think. They need to overthrow that government. Well, I mean, we'll see what happens, but there's going to be a massive protest apparently in 4 or 5 days. They already had one a few months ago. I saw photos of it. But I mean, that's a complete mess. It's dystopian. Trump sentencing will be pushed back. Yeah, I know. I know. They're going to push it back. And then they're going to say Trump's desperate, so he got pushed back. And he's trying to avoid jail. They need it to get pushed back. You're absolutely. That has not helped them at all, sentencing Trump. It's just not, that's not the American way. You don't imprison your political opponents because you don't like them. It's not going to work. The movie is a total hit piece. Man, dude, these October surprises from the liberals are getting just absurd. The blonde girl from Borat plays. Oh my god, that's the big October surprise. A movie. Oh, the fake outrage. It'll be great. Will you live stream a reaction at a time? You know, I think I can do reactions because I saw other people doing reactions, but I think I'm allowed to. I don't think it's going to get copyrighted, but I don't know. What do you make of the hostages that have been killed by Hamas? I think supporting either Israel or Palestine ain't worth it. Yeah, no, I mean, dude, the thing is with a situation like that, it's such an explosive thing. There's so many people that hate Israel. There's so many people that hate Palestine. Personally, I just hate the Middle East in general. I hate us being involved in it. If it, it's just such an unstable situation. But I mean, obviously, it's not that simple. We have allies, and so it makes everything extremely complicated. But I mean, you would love to say just get out of there in a perfect world, but it's not that easy, sadly. Kamala is so far left that when she plays left field, yeah, I mean, dude, they're trying to change her through her anonymous aides are trying to change her. I mean, it's just crazy. I think it's crazy how every right winger wants to overthrow a government whenever they see something. And they're like, yeah, I think it's crazy how every left wing person wants to silence or ban social media when the people say stuff they don't like as well. That's pretty crazy. Hamas doesn't want Israel to exist. Of course they don't. Well, I mean, it is crazy that Hamas was voted in. A literal terrorist organization was voted in. What movie? It's some movie apparently going to be a hit piece against Trump. That's their big October surprise, seriously. It's coming out on October 11th. It was an independent film. And now it's going to be distributed worldwide. Oh my god. What do you think about Kamala going down in polling? It's not surprising. It's getting real ugly for her. Yeah, well, McCain had a bad relationship with Trump, so his son is going to come out and just complete, he could carry on the legacy of that. On top of that, whether Kamala chooses Waltz or Shapiro, the Palestinians in Michigan, where Key and Biden win. Yeah, no, I understand. Well, they said they're not voting Democrat. Well, I mean, dude, those people, who really knows how many of them will end up voting? But I can understand the Democrats saying if it's Shapiro, it's going to really alienate all those people in Michigan. That was the whole reason I thought. It was like, oh, it has to do with Michigan. And, that's why Waltz ended up being the pick. Trump hit piece movie will flop. Yeah, I'm glad I learned about this hit piece movie tonight. That's great. On the 11th of October, huh? Well, there's a book coming out about Harris in October as well, so we'll see. Remember My Son Hunter, the movie? Oh man. I might have to watch the movie as well, man. All right, guys. I said I was gonna do 2 hours. It's 10 o'clock. I'm gonna be heading off tonight. I might stream the town hall tomorrow. I gotta see if I'll be able to, but maybe I'll stream the town hall, the Trump town hall in Pennsylvania, with Fox News. Fox News is doing it. Yes. How come Harris hasn't been asked? Well, the problem is that no one can get a hold of her. There's been one interview, and it was with Bash, and it was with Waltz. So that's the main reason why. I mean, why haven't we heard a question about, her supporting Trump's border wall? Yep. Good night, guys. It's a good 2-hour stream. Lex Fridman is the most overrated podcaster around. Yeah, well, Nick, you want to know one of the reasons why he's so big is because of the connections he has. He's buddy with Rogan, so that helps him get bigger. I don't hate Lex. He's very. You could definitely say he's boring. You could say, well, he's an independent. I understand. It's like an independent. I'm not gonna call it a grift because I think he is an independent. Honestly, I do. But he's like, the reason Lex is so big is because he's buddies with Rogan. I mean, that's you make connections like that. It's easy to grow. And Lex is a smart dude. He really is. But I understand his personality is not for everyone. It's a bit more boring. Waltz, ignore the hostage question. Yeah, no. Apple, this is it. He gets asked a tough question. He's just like, time to go, guys. Wait, you asked me a tough question? All right, guys, time to go. Yep, time to go. That's basically it. All right, guys, but make sure you follow me on X. Link to that's always in the description. But if Trump wasn't elected, we'd be a communist state already. Well, we would definitely be trending more that way, and it's important. This communism stuff is important. I think Trump is right, especially with what Harris said about X. It's so important that everyone realizes that, and that's why I was going to do a video on it today, but I couldn't because I had done a video on something else, but I got to do a video on that because what she said about people have to realize what she said, and Trump needs to talk about that during the debate because it's so important, where she says there needs to be massive government regulation on X, basically because they don't agree with a lot of people's opinions, and so they want to censor it.